The air smelled like the ocean as Joe opened his fish shop. He was used to it. Joe smiled tiredly at the sun rising. Another day of working with fish lay ahead. Most of his customers were regulars, like the old lady who liked big salmon and the young couple who wanted the freshest fish for their date nights. But today, there was a new customer waiting for him. A furry one with determined eyes. For weeks, a ginger cat with a playful side had been hanging around outside Joe's shop. It would sit on the windowsill, watching people buy fish. Joe found himself liking the curious cat. It never stayed for long, running away when someone came close. Unlike other stray cats looking for food, this one seemed different, almost proud. One afternoon, things changed. The cat, feeling bold perhaps, strutted into the shop with a crisp leaf in its mouth. It proudly dropped the leaf on the counter, then sat in front of Joe, tail up. Joe felt amused. The cat had its own idea of trading. He looked at the small crowd watching, a smirk on his face. Should he kick the cat out to keep his shop in order? But something in the cat's determined look made him pause. Well, well, Joe chuckled, scratching his chin. Looks like we've got a new customer. A rather unusual one. The cat blinked, as if understanding, and let out a soft meow. A smile spread across Joe's face. They had an understanding. Joe got a small fish from behind the counter and put it next to the leaf. The cat's eyes lit up with joy as it grabbed the fish and ran out, leaving the leaf behind. News of the leaf-paying cat spread quickly. People came not only for fish, but also to see this clever cat. The cat, named Sushi by the locals, became a favorite. Every day it brought something as payment. A leaf, a flower petal, even a shiny pebble once. Joe was touched by the cat's persistence and creativity. He always gave Sushi a fish, keeping their unique deal a secret. One day, the shop was strangely quiet. Sushi, always around, was gone. Joe felt a worrying emptiness. He closed the shop early, feeling uneasy. He searched the usual places, calling for Sushi. As dusk fell, his worry grew. Just when he was losing hope, he saw a flash of ginger by the road. Sushi lay there, hurt. Fear and sadness washed over Joe as he rushed to the cat. Sushi had a cut on its side and was struggling to breathe. Joe picked up Sushi, his heart racing. At the vet's office, time dragged on. Joe paced, praying quietly for Sushi. Finally, the vet came out, looking concerned. Sushi had been hit by a car, with internal injuries and broken ribs. Surgery was needed, but Sushi's chances were uncertain. The days after Sushi's accident were hazy. Joe worked in the shop in the mornings, but his mind was always with Sushi. Every evening, he visited the clinic, feeling more disheartened, seeing Sushi hooked up to machines. Sushi fought hard, despite his small size. Weeks passed, and a fragile hope grew. The tubes came off, replaced by a weak meow that filled Joe with joy. Sushi's eyes, once full of pain, now showed recognition. The vet, moved by their bond, offered a discount for Sushi's care. But when it was time to take Sushi home, a new problem arose. Sushi wasn't microchipped, and no one claimed him after a thorough search. The idea of Sushi going back to the streets was unbearable for Joe. On the day Sushi was set to leave the clinic, the local animal shelter happened to visit. They were discussing overcrowding when Joe shared his problem. Touched by Sushi's story and Joe's commitment, the shelter workers came up with a plan. Instead of taking Sushi, they helped Joe adopt him. Relief flooded over Joe like a warm wave. The journey home was quiet and companionable. Joe had prepared a cozy spot for Sushi in the shop, complete with a bed, scratching post, and litter box. But the best part was the collection of toys, mice, wands, and a crinkly fish that reminded Joe of Sushi's unique way of paying for fish. The most special thing was a leaf Joe kept safe, the first one Sushi used to pay for fish. It had a special spot on a shelf, a reminder of their bond. Sushi's recovery was slow but steady. He enjoyed sunbeams and played with dust motes in the shop. Seeing customers and hearing the sounds of the shop seemed to calm him. He greeted people with purrs and trust instead of wariness. One day, the old lady who liked salmon came to the counter. This time, she looked worried. "Joe," she said carefully, "is that a cat toy?" She pointed to Sushi playing with a feather toy. Joe laughed. "Yes, it is. Meet Sushi, my newest helper." He told her about Sushi's story, the accident, and how he adopted him. The woman smiled warmly. "Well, it seems like he's found a happy home," she said, petting Sushi as he rubbed against her legs. News of Sushi's adoption spread fast. The shop became a place not just for buying fish, but also for meeting the leaf-paying cat. Kids loved playing with Sushi, and even serious customers couldn't resist his charm. His presence added warmth to the busy shop. Life settled into a nice routine. Every morning, Joe gave Sushi a fresh fish, remembering how they first met. Sushi purred and nudged Joe in return. They were an odd pair, but they shared a love for the sea and connecting with people. Their story became a local legend, showing how unexpected friendships can form anywhere. The shop, once just known for its fish, now had a new treasure, a ginger cat with a playful spirit and a grateful heart. Joe, surrounded by customers and the sound of his work, felt content with Sushi by his side.